Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Cote. I am your podcast host here at Action Coach in Central Texas. Today, I have Neil Brown, co founder and CTO of Panda Mars, as my guest on the show. Today, we're going to be talking all about his business journey, how he got into business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share a sneak peek into what it's really like to own and operate a business. If this is your first time on our channel, be sure to like and subscribe to learn when we drop episodes just like this one. Welcome, Neil. It's so great to have you here on the show. Thank you so much for being here. I'd love to learn a little bit about you and your business.
Awesome. Thank you, Kay. It's wonderful to be here, and I really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you. The Panda Mars, which is a little bit, it's not quite what it sounds, right? The Mars stands is an acronym for Mobile Auto Repair Services, and we focus on enabling auto technicians to really just enhance their businesses and reduce the barriers to entry. So we've got a few products going, but uh, it all started with myself and my co-founder, Charles Mims, who is our CEO. It started with an awesome idea. He had this idea, and we were just kind of discussing it and kicking it around. And I have an extensive background in engineering, and sort of the way my mind works is, okay, how would this function? And that conversation led into like a bunch more conversations, which got pretty like passionate, and we got really involved. And then it just kind of turned into one of those things that we just had to do, right? The more we thought about it, the more that we saw the need and our ability, and we were like, this was meant to be. We just need to make this. Okay.
That is a
Uh,
very cool story. And isn't that true about how businesses start a lot of the times? They just kind of are these ideas that pop up that we're like, there's something there we need to explore.
yeah, and it's been a fantastic journey to and also very it's quite frankly terrifying, right?
Oh, very
um
true.
yeah, it's new territory, and there's a steep learning curve for new business owners, entrepreneurs, especially, like I said, for us, we got into it because of an idea and a passion and a belief, and ideas. And so we had the idea to make an app, which is a platform where um, you could go to find a mechanic to fix your car, right? And and it would be something that was completely transparent. You could see the rates up front, you could see the reviews for the mechanic, so you could know what other customers were saying, what their capabilities are, what their credentials are, even like how close they are to you. And so the idea is that the mechanics are mobile mechanics, and they'll come to you to your car repairs, because if you need car repairs, like chances are you're probably going to have a problem getting to them, right? So
This is true. That's actually a really good. I love this idea. Like, sign me up today. I had car troubles last week and I was like, this would have been great.
yeah, it's amazing, and that's a story that almost everybody we talk to has, right? And it's always a struggle, and I think it's one of the things that, in life, we just kind of accept because it's always been that way, and not realizing how little sense it makes in kind of how we do things. As far as like car repairs, you're just like, okay, I just gotta, either someone, and you just gotta find a mechanic, or you have to contact that person who either like is good on cars, or knows, like, has the credentials and has certifications, or somebody who knows somebody, or you just kind of just randomly guess and find a place and hope that they don't hope that they do a good job, and hope that they don't charge excessive fees. And all of this, the whole process is really, you know quite confusing. It's not really transparent. A lot of times you end up leaving feeling like, well, there was nothing I could have done, but you
Mhm.
definitely feel like you spent too much. And so, sort
Oh,
of
yes.
demystifying that. Yeah, right.
Everybody, I think, has had that feeling once or twice.
Correct. And then, so the one of the things that really led to such passion in the discussions with Charles and myself is that we have a sort of a shared history in that, both of our fathers were automotive mechanics. And so um kind of growing up with that as like the background as a kid, seeing the struggles that my dad went through as a small time business owner in the automotive technician industry. you know um we realize that it's not just it's on both sides, right? The
Yeah.
system really is difficult. So our intent was to just create a place where it didn't have to be confusing or difficult, especially in the economy today with kind of what's going on in technical fields and trying to get reduce those barriers to entry for a lot of people who are trying
Mhm.
to like break into new businesses. A lot of, that's kind of the thing now is you gain these skills and you can either go to work for someone and put those skills to use for a company, or you can, try and work for yourself. And if you don't have the necessary resources, it's difficult to go to work for yourself. So
Mm, that's
we're
very
trying
true.
to reduce, yeah, I mean, and it's a struggle, but we're trying to make that struggle less for individuals that choose that path.
Wow, that's really cool and really powerful. I think it's like one of those. I like how you're bridging like technology with this service. That's very cool. So I'd love to dive into your role a little bit more, as the CTO. What does that look like? What does your day-to-day look like in the company?
Oh, wow. It is hectic. So yeah, as a CTO, I'm in charge of the technology. And being a super small startup, you have to wear all of the hats. Right?
Mhm.
So, my day to day as a co-founder is kind of balanced between managing the activities that co-founders have to do to support the business and the business
Mhm.
objectives, and leading the technical teams, developing our software, and developing new products. Also coordinating with all of our partners that we have that are helping us to generate the new products. Um, right now, we're starting to dive into the Gen AI space, as it seems as everyone. Right? and
Yeah.
so, we have some partnerships that we're working with some technical schools to help develop a Gen AI product that will suit their needs. For 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 us specifically, we are extremely customer focused. And we have, like I said, we have these really passionate conversations, and we draw up these big grand plans, and we have these long list of features, and then we kind of just set them to the side and talk to the customers,
Mm.
um, and see what are the actual problems that our customers are having, and how can we solve for them. And then specifically, we always want to ask, what's what does the solution to this problem look like to you, right?
Mhm.
Because different viewpoints, they might see, I might see a solution to their problem that they didn't see, or that
Mhm.
they weren't expecting. So when you're saying I have this problem, like my idea of a solution may be in a completely opposite direction of what you're thinking, which is probably what you need. Right? So
Mhm.
to be
Mhm.
more aligned with the customer and figure out exactly what it is that they need before we start working on implementing things is a key aspect of our business.
That is very cool too. It's nice to hear kind of the ins and outs of what you're building and your role in the business. What right now currently you talked about some partners, you talked about some people helping you out. Do you have employees right now, or is that something you're working towards? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yes, we do have a few employees. The majority of our employees are engineering, so our software development team, which is all of our software development team. We're hiring nearshore developers, and interns. So it's the most cost effective route that you could go as a small
Mhm.
business owner. And it's actually been really awesome experience for us to learn and to grow. Of course, when you're a startup, you want to hire the most experienced and the best people that you can, but also you have a startup's budget. So
Mhm.
so you generally can't afford that. And we chose a bit of a difficult route in that um our goal is to hire people that really believe in the project and that really want to be with us for the long run. Um we actually skewed away from the seniority in
Mhm.
hiring that. We hired pretty junior people that can train and learn and grow with us.
Mhm.
Which is again, I guess, for us, it's a bit more difficult. We're playing on hard mode. But in the long run, I think that it's a lot more beneficial for the company as a whole. And it's also, beneficial for us to see our employees grow and as the company grows, they continue to grow and we become more effective together.
Oh, yes, definitely. So how many full-time employees do you currently have?
We currently have three full-time employees and one intern, and then we're hiring another intern. We're in the process of hiring another intern as we speak.
Very, very cool. Well, I'd love to dive into a little bit about marketing. That's, it's on everybody's list as entrepreneurs. The M word is out there. So I would love to hear about some of the things you're doing for your marketing. So I'm very curious how successful businesses plan their marketing. So do you have a typical like monthly sales, like what part of your revenue that you're pouring back into your marketing budget?
Um, well, yeah, so we still have not figured that out. And so right now, so we have some ideas in. I'll be honest with you, marketing is not my strong suit, and I tend to just kind of shy away and leave that to our CEO and co-founder Charles, and let him handle that for the most part. But we have um we have a plan, and to funnel, you know, and it changes from day to day. But we started originally with 10% of our total revenue would go to marketing, um, and then we kind of revamped that and we decided, hey, maybe we need more for marketing. Or it's with marketing, and especially for us, it's a bit hit and miss because we have essentially we have two sets of customers. Well, we have two sets of customers. We have two mobile applications, one for the customer and one for the technician. So we are actively recruiting technicians to join our platform, and then we're also actively recruiting customers. And so it looks a bit different on how you recruit the different in the different areas. But right now we're focused on increasing our technician um, pool. So when the customers get onto the app, they have, a selection of technicians to choose from, so they
Mhm.
can, make a better decision and have more options. Um, and so with that, we are focusing on, we have a marketing firm that does paid advertisements for us. One of we have a social media marketer who manages our social media, and you know that's been extremely beneficial for us. But
Mhm.
the most, at least in my opinion, the most benefit that we've gotten is because we have those relationships with the technical schools. We have events that, like, we just last week we were at the Skills USA competition. We had an exhibit there and we were able to talk to a lot of automotive technician students that are in
Mhm.
technical colleges, which are, as far as marketing goes, right? For me, it's like, okay, these are people who definitely need the service and who are very interested. Um, and I get to speak with them directly. So for me, that's the
Hmm.
most beneficial because not only do I get to have that conversation that's really reaffirming because they're excited about our business and what we do, but they also give me instant feedback or, hey, does your app have this? Or if it doesn't, it should have this. And that feedback for me, like developing the products, it's what I live for, right? It's how I determine if I'm doing a good job on developing products. And it's also how we determine where we're going to go in the future with what we're going to do.
Mhm.
So, which products we have next, which features we're going to release next on our current products, all of that is really determined by the voice of the customer. And so, like, being able to actually talk to the customers is a huge benefit for me. So, that's my personal favorite as far as marketing. And, for those things, it's not a percentage of revenue investment. It's just, whatever the cost is to attend the event.
Mhm.
Um, and then, of course, the time and effort invested into like making an impression, something memorable that the customers will remember.
That's really cool. And it's like, I like the creative strategy there behind it, especially, utilizing that ability to just like be in front of people. And then also those people are integrated within, they can be customers, they could, maybe get involved with the company. So that is really, really cool. And I'd like to kind of dive in now. We talked a little bit about the marketing. We've talked about like the introduction of your company. I'd like to hear a little bit about you and what made you choose it to go into business rather than working for someone else. Like, what was that transition like for you?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it was um mostly unintentional. Um, so I think I've been in engineering for many, many years, over 20 years now. And I've done various aspects of engineering. I started my career in nuclear engineering in the US Navy. And then after that, I chose to like study other disciplines of engineering. And for the past 10 years or so, I've worked for various different startups. At different levels, and it was just really exciting for me to transition to like working in R&D at tech startups. There's like the fast pace, like the innovation, the you get to wear all the different hats instead of being kind of in general in
Mhm.
engineering. A lot of times you get locked into a role and you kind of it's repetitive.
Mhm.
But in tech startups and like R&D specifically, you never know what it's going to be, and it was just really exciting. Every day was something new, learning new things, trying new things, like accomplishments that previously had never been done. And I found for me that was sort of my calling, and that's what I wanted to do and where I wanted to work. And then we started the company um, sort of in our spare time, and we were working as much as we could in our spare time to build up our company. And then it just sort of lined up. I took the summer off from my job to spend time with my kids. They were out of school for the summer, and we got accepted into the AWS Build Accelerator. And so I spent a lot of time working on the development of our product through this Build Accelerator, and that sort of led to some other opportunities with some other partnerships. And then it just sort of became I didn't have time to go back to a full-time job because I was working so much in the business. And then I've just been here ever since. So
Really, really inspiring. And kind of getting into something, along those lines, this question, is like what is something that you've went through on your journey so far that has maybe challenged you, and how did you overcome that?
Oh wow, there's so many. Yeah, as of I think I'll say, and I think this is probably the biggest challenge for any startup is funding.
Hmm.
Um, and it's always going to be a struggle. I think if you don't have the struggle of funding, then maybe you're not doing something right.
Mm,
But we the struggle to try and like get enough funding to progress the businesses as fast as we want led to you know I oh I can't even it's sort of a series of events that was I never completely planned, and it feels like it was just completely out of control and also very fortuitous, right? The business sort of just continued to grow organically without the what I perceived as the need for a huge amount of funding that we were trying to get. How we ended up Which is how we ended up looking for other ways to advance our products um, without needing a large amount of funding, right? Of course, you always want to optimize your spending. You always want to like try and reduce your costs. And it really has led us to um, a, a very we have a very efficient model with how we do our development, and we're continuing to grow and to kind of develop that model into like being able to produce like rapid products that
mhm,
are high quality for an extremely low price. Um, mm, so it's really been a struggle to balance that cost with like what we want to be like how we want our product to look, right? We're like, hey, we want this amazing great product, and like, okay, well, it's going to cost a lot of time and money to make that. And as a startup, we don't really necessarily always have that amount of runway, so which led us to sort of as I spoke before, like the utilizing interns and nearshore developers, and really like working really closely and hand in hand with everyone else in the company to do as best as we can to create something that's amazing. So in sort of trying to overcome this cost issue, we've kind of created a really close and really inspiring company culture.
mhm.
And we're distributed, like we're all remote. So
Nice.
it's that's that's one of the big things with working, and especially when you're working on software
Mhm,
and everyone is completely remote. However, you really have to be in sync when you're all trying to make one product. And so
mhm.
I think it's really helped us creating that sort of culture in distributed workforce.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, that's really inspiring. And yeah, this has been such a great conversation. We've covered so much ground. I've loved hearing about what you're working on. And so I would like to dive into some rapid fire questions. These are those quick top of mind answers for our audience. There's four of them. Are you ready to rock and roll?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. Question number one is, what is the key to success for you?
Uh, the key to success for me is is being flexible
Hmm.
in everything that I do. Sort of when I started this journey, I had a very rigid definition of what the product would look like, what success would look like, what the business should look like, it is not that, right? Everything
Mhm,
changes on a day by day basis, but being able to just accept kind of how things are and figure out like what's the best course of action to go
mhm,
forward has been the key to success. Just, having that flexibility to make those decisions without like being stuck into one frame of mind of what success looks like and what we should be doing next, and just kind of taking it
mhm.
day by day.
Yes, that is so true. Number 2 is, what is one piece of advice you have for other business owners?
But believe in yourself. One of the another struggle that we had in the beginning is, starting out and as an entrepreneur with, no previous entrepreneurship or business experience. There are a lot of times where I second guess myself, or maybe I don't know, and it really led to some serious hangups and slowdowns. And in the end, it's like, okay, like you can do this and you can succeed. And even if you fail, like you'll learn from that failure and you'll keep going and grow and be stronger for it. So it's best to just be confident, pursue what you think is right. And, like I said, be flexible from there and try and just continue to move forward.
Also, really awesome advice. Number 3 is, what is a piece of content? This could be a book, a podcast, anything that you've taken in recently that's impacted you.
I hmm, oh, there is hmm, there are just so many. I can't really single out one. So it's part of my growth and journey as a CTO is that I am constantly listening to podcasts.
Mhm.
Um and um anything that I can do to help like increase my value as the chief technology officer, I'm constantly doing it. But I think if we are talking about podcasts recently that impacted me, I would have to say this podcast actually.
Aw,
This
thank you.
this I and it's really interesting because I live in Pflugerville, Texas, and I actually just came across the podcast that you did with a bookstore owner in Pflugerville.
Yes,
Um,
I remember her. She was a great
yeah,
interview.
yeah, it was amazing. And I was just like, oh, that's so cool. And I was like, I have to go check that place out. And then
Mhm.
I was like, wow, that's amazing that they're spotlighting local business owners and giving this chance. And I was so completely inspired by that. And then of course I somehow immediate, and this seems to be how like everything works, got the invitation to to be spotlighted. And I was like, oh, I know these. I know them. I
That is super cool. Well, I am so glad. Yes, that's amazing. Well, thank you. And we have one more question for you. It is, if you could choose one part of your business that you could immediately improve on tomorrow, what would it be?
Ooh. Let's see, immediately improve on, I'd have to say the marketing
Mhm,
um side. And I think probably, a bit of the bias just because that's not my strong area, but also because mm, it's a tricky area to get right.
mhm.
You can tell by the difficulty in my answering the question about how we do marketing earlier. Like, it's really guess and check, and we're like, okay, what works with our customer base, and
Mhm.
you just kind of never know, and you're just kind of feeling it out as you go.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that and those answering those rapid fire questions. Before we get to our final question of the day, how can people find you? Talk about marketing right now. Let's plug you. How can people find you and connect with you?
Okay. So that one is easy. You can go to our website, www.panda-mars.com, and or you can find the Panda Dash customer app on the Google Play or Apple Store, or the Panda Dash technician app on whether you have Android or Apple, we're on both major stores.
Well, thank you so much, Neil. This has been an incredible conversation. I want to ask you the final question of today. What is most inspiring to you today?
You know, what's most inspiring to me is um it's well, really, it's this, right? It's connecting with people, it's talking, like being able to share like what is my passion and see like, people's reaction, which is, generally it's always a joy. Everyone's always like, "Hey, that's amazing. We really need this," right? And it's
Yes.
it's really inspiring to hear from people that, we started this journey thinking we were going to solve a problem for a lot of people. And so it's
Mhm.
really inspiring to get to talk to people and say, "Hey, I have that problem and I could use that solution."
Mhm.
It's super validating. Like, okay, yes, like we are doing something that's good.
Well, thank you so much, Neil, for your time today, being on this episode. It's been an absolute joy to talk with you.
Thank you. Yeah, it was my pleasure. I had so much fun. I really appreciate you having me.